Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of ATN the Sports Personality Show on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. I'm very happy, of course, to be here to bring you up to speed with another sports personality on the show. Today, we're going to take a look at Victor Osimhen, Nigerian forward. And of course, yes, we talked about the man on the show, but this time around, he has done something, incredible. He's the first Nigerian to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or Award and the FIFA Best Player Award. So that's why we're going to be taking a look at, Victor Osimhen on today's edition of ATN Sports Personality Show. It promises to be an interesting one. We have a whole lot, of course, to unravel about this man, talking about Victor Osimhen, first Nigerian to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or Award and the FIFA Best Player Award. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, of course, we'll tell you how Victor Osimhen has been able, to push his game down to the level where he is today. We'll be right back. Stay with us. You're welcome back as the ATN Sports Personality Show, and we're here to tell you more about the man Victor Osimhen. Like I said, he's the first Nigerian to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or Award and the FIFA Best Player Award. Incredible feat, if you ask me, for Victor Osimhen. And of course, joining me on today's edition of the Says a Man you know so well. His name is Jerry Daniels. Good morning to you, Jerry, and welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Personality Show.
Yes, thank you very much, Kingsley. Thank you, listeners out there. Just keep the dialogue as we bring to you the personality profile of Nigeria's best striker at the moment, because I was saying Nigeria's best striker.
Yeah, he's the best
prolific
striker
at the moment. Just like you rightly said, the only Nigerian have been nominated for the Ballon d'Or. So this personality profile is all about no other person than Victor Osimhen, the Napoli striker who has been actually prolific in front of this past few seasons. So stay tuned.
Interesting one, of course, for Victor Osimhen, the first Nigerian to be nominated, for the Ballon d'Or Award and as well the FIFA Best Player Award. It actually came as a surprise and a shock, to so many. And with that, that's why we decided, to take a look at the man, what he's been able to do. So, and for Victor Osimhen, he was born in 29th December 1998 and is a Nigerian professional footballer who plays as a striker for Serie A club Napoli and the Nigerian national team. Now considered one of the best strikers in the world, as well as one of the best players in the world. He is known for his elite finishing, pace, strength, and athleticism. And talk about his early life. The man was born in Lagos to parents from Edo State, and he grew up in Olosusun community in Oregon, Ojota. You can see Ojota area of Lagos State. Growing up, his footballing idol was DJ Drogba. What do you make of his early life? He actually grew up in Lagos. Parents were based there, though he's from Edo State. But do you think the Lagos life and the groove down there in Lagos and how things have been done actually influence his choice of career as well?
Well, Victor Osimhen was born in Lagos, actually grew up in Ojota, South Africa. Manuel Amunike actually spotted out Victor Osimhen. And when you look at it, you can actually say that this is tied down to the open arms or the open reception of tournament in Lagos State, and also tactical prowess of Emmanuel Amunike being able to spot out this young talent that have been lived up to expectation up until this point. I'm banging double-digit goals almost in every season. Though his career has suffered some backlash some years ago, but Victor Osimhen has been on track since 2019, signing for OSC Lille. So he has been on track. But for me, I really do think that the place in which you grew up, talking about Orego daughter in present day Lagos State of Nigeria, actually added lots to his career.
Interesting. And Victor Osimhen, we hear he didn't really come from a buoyant, family.
Yeah.
His parents were not that well, to do, and well, I actually heard of the story that he even went into hooking off, sachet water and all of that on the streets of Lagos. And from what we've seen so far, that didn't really, of course, hamper his vision, and this actually, put up, some.
They encountered, ranging from the fact that his parents were not financially buoyant. You can say that it really tied down to his sheer determination. But if you look at it, there's no field of endeavor that is void of determination to succeed. Even in music, sorry I'm prevaricating, even in music, we have the Davidos, we have the Whiskey, opposite background. One came from a very wealthy family up until this time, and one came from a poor family. But both of them are competing favorably. So you can't exclude determination from it. Victor Osimhen at some point in time actually hauled sachet water on the streets of in order to in order to even fund himself for tournaments and competition. He did not allow the lack of finance from the family side be an encumbrance on him, hinder him from actually getting his dream and goal. So at this point in time, we can say determination to success has been the driving force. Someone like Victor Osimhen. And don't forget, the city of Lagos is a city that has bred so many talents. So many talents. So Victor Osimhen, that has actually been spotted out, has actually done very well, appealing to the eyes of football lovers, especially his coach that spotted him. I'm talking about Emmanuel Amini, former Nigerian international. Able to spot him out and include him in the squad that went to Chile during the Under-17 World Cup. And actually, they were victorious, with Victor Osimhen having most of it. So when we look at it, we can say sheer determination has actually given Victor Osimhen what he truly deserves.
Determination for Victor Osimhen, and of course, that has really taken him far in his career. Well, let's take a look at his club career. As we hear, Victor Osimhen started his club career in 2016. Of course, he was in an academy down there in Lagos, the Strikers, Academy. Do you think the academy and as well the Gaffer, talking about Emmanuel Amunike, was also a leap to his career?
Yes, Emmanuel Amunike actually discovered him, and one good thing about it is that no matter the prolific football you play, I also play football during my leisure time, and I have so many players who play with me where I do train. I just pray for them. I just pray for them. Why? These guys actually have what it takes to compete favorably in the national team. But they have not been spotted out. Imagine if Emmanuel Amunike did not actually spot Victor Osimhen. Would never hear of the Edo-born striker today. Perhaps Napoli would not even come across. So when you look at it, Emmanuel Amunike actually spotted him out. It was a timely intervention for the Nigerian striker to bring him into limelight. Like I want to reiterate, like I said earlier, I have so many teammates in the local club where I play for. And when it comes to the midfield segment of in the game of football, but they have not been discovered. They have not been discovered. So you making the most of what you do is another thing. And on the other side, being discovered by an agent who will bring you into limelight is a different ball game altogether. I don't know if you understand me. So when you look at it, we're able to say much of his success is tied down to him being discovered by the former ex-Nigerian international, talking about Emmanuel. Because if he did not discover Victor Osimhen, perhaps he may still have been discovered by another player or another agent. But I don't think he will be at the same level. It may be even higher or it may be lower, but it can't be comparable to what Victor Osimhen is right now. So a lot is tied down to his discovery by the ex-Nigerian international.
Emmanuel Mliki, of course, one man that gave Victor Osimhen a leap in his career, and I tell you, Victor Osimhen will always remember this one, at every moment, in his life. And we can also take away the Strikers Academy, which he was playing for, at that time. So I think they also did a great work on him, because if not because of what how they were able to train him, maybe Emmanuel Amunike might not have seen something good or better in Victor Osimhen.
Yes, just like you rightly said, a lot still ties down to the academy in which he has featured in. You can't exclude a prolific player without relating back to his academy days.
It takes a lot to be a good striker.
It takes a lot to be a good striker. So you must have been in an academy. We look at the best academy in the world, talking about La Masia. I can remember in 2011, 2012, under the Barcelona team under the late Tito Villanova, there was a game they played against Levante that game fielded 10 players from La Masia. At some point in the game, 14 minutes, Dani Alves, talking about the former right back of Brazil, was injured. And the player who came to replace him was a player from the Baca La Masia Academy. And this is the first time it has happened in the history of football, where you see a team field 11 players from the La Masia Academy. Talking about the center, Piqué and Puyo. Talking about the goalkeeper Vardes, Cesc Fabregas, Sergio Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta, Pedro, Messi. So, Jordi Alba and also Martin Montoya. So, you come to think of it. To an extent, a prolific player is being tied down to the academy he or she finds himself in. It's being tied down to that academy. That academy is just a breeding ground. It shapes you. Perhaps you may have been discovered in a roadside football tournament. Street football. And that scout says, oh, Kingsley, you're good in this, you're good. I've seen your tactical prowess in front of goal. Come, we admit you into this academy. We have the Real Madrid Academy in River State here. A talent can be spotted from anywhere, and you're being introduced into the academy to also function. So when you look at it, you say, oh, I can tie this down to the participation of this academy, to the success of this athlete.
All right. When you talk about academy in Nigeria, do you think the academies we have in Nigeria have done enough when it comes to unearthing talent for the country?
Which academy do we have? Outside the Real Madrid Academy that was built by the former immediate past governor of the state, do we really have a top-notch academy? We don't really have. Perhaps in Lagos, I can't really lay my hands on it, but I know about
there are
three to five
there are
top
few academies
major
in
academies,
Lagos,
yes, in
and
Lagos.
some in Abuja.
Yes. So we can't really lay our hands on a very formidable academy that has produced homegrown players that have actively participated and done creditably well.
Because we see some in Europe, especially the Premier League.
In the Premier League,
the athlete, train these players.
Yes.
Bring out the best in them and
sell them to bigger clubs. For profit.
Yes.
I made mention of La Masia Academy, which is the academy that brought about the 7-time Ballon d'Or winner, talking about Lionel Messi. If you look at La Masia Academy, I don't think La Masia Academy has churned out good and fantastic players over the years. Where did Xavi come from? Cesc Fabregas, Andres Iniesta. I can go on and on and on and on. So, in Nigeria here, we don't really have those top-notch academy that will be able to churn out good and formidable players who can compete in the national team very well. And not only that, being able to sell these players outside the shores of Africa, sell them to domestic club sides, sell them outside the shores of the continent of Africa, then perform creditably well in the team outside Africa. Then the glory will be tied down to the academy.
Sure.
That's why La Masia Academy is on the lips of everybody who loves Barcelona, because this academy has actually churned out a whole lot of stars, a whole lot of stars, I mean.
As well as the Strikers Academy where Victor came from. And I think that academy will be, be remembered as always.
Yes, yes.
Because of,
it even speaks volume of the academy because
yeah.
it's for wider participation.
She's talking about Victor Osimhen. He eventually helped the Golden Eagle to win the FIFA Under-17 World Cup trophy in Chile, and also bag the highest goal scorer award after scoring 10 goals in that particular tournament. Osimhen also won the FIFA Under-17 World Cup Silver Ball in that particular tournament. And Osimhen, of course, was named the 2015 African Youth Player of the Year at the CAF Award in Abuja in January 2016. And soon after, he was announced to the world that he announced the world that he would be pursuing his professional career with the German Bundesliga club Wolfsburg. Now, Osimhen signed a 3.5-year pre-contract deal with contract due until 2020 and made his debut in German top flights in May 2017. However, after 4 months of the Bundesliga side, the talented striker picked up a shoulder injury that made him go into surgery, bringing his first season to a premature end. Wasn't really, an interesting one, especially when he started his when he started, his club career, especially in Germany. Injury has not been the best of friend, with the man. Take a look at it, even when he started, his club career down there in Germany.
Yes, injury is not a friend of anyone, not a friend of any player, because when you're out injured, you're not in competition, and this can keep you rusty for a whole lot and a whole lot of time. So looking at the man, Victor James Osimhen, of how he has been injury-stricken for this period of time, and I bet you, this can, let me liken this situation to that of Sadio Mane. When Sadio Mane came from his hometown in Bambali, Senegal, to Metz in France, he had this sickness. And what was it? It wasn't really an injury, but it was a sickness, like flu, cold. And that almost ripped him of his career because Metz almost disconnected themselves from the Senegalese international, saying that they will part ways. But luckily enough, the Senegalese international, talking about the Anas forward now, Sadio Mane was able to go past all those hurdles until he got into limelight playing for Southampton, Liverpool, and Bayern Munich, now Anas. So when we look at it, at the preliminary stages of Victor Osimhen's career, was struck by injury. He missed the 2018 World Cup. And also missed the AFCON. Well, let's say the AFCON wasn't tied down to injury. Purportedly, they said they would not release him because of COVID-19. But when you look at 2018 World Cup that he missed, was injury. Before that time, he also missed several games for Wolfsburg. So we can actually say that injury actually hampered his career to an extent. But thank God that he's able to salvage those moments up until this time, that he has been able to be on track. You can't talk about 5 strikers in the world without calling Victor Osimhen. I can tell you.
Sure.
Prolific striker across Europe top 5 leagues without talking about the man Victor James Osimhen. So when you look at it, we say, oh, injury actually made an open show of him, but he has been able to triumph over it victoriously.
Interesting one. And Victor Osimhen, he struggled with fitness. Continued as he once again fell sick following his successful surgery, forcing him to miss the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. Just like Jerry said, Osimhen eventually overcame his nightmares after about 2 painful seasons. Inconsistency due to injury and sickness saw him fail to score a single goal for Wolfsburg, thereby ruining his career in Germany. That was a very, very poor outing for him down there at Wolfsburg. But Osimhen eventually attended summer trials after his time at Wolfsburg with Belgian club as Jude Waregem, and the club grew, but it turned to be unsuccessful as both clubs rejected the striker due to the poor physical condition. This would have also been a moment where the man should have been very, very disappointed with himself. But he kept on, just like you mentioned, determination and commitment.
Yes, determination and commitment actually ferry Victor Osimhen up onto this point where we see him banging double for Napoli. And we have seen that during his stint at the Belgian club, talking about Charles Lorry, though he was able to make a good account of himself, scoring a good number of goals for that club. But leading out up until that time, he wasn't stable until he signed for Lille in France in 2019. So up until this time, before that time, he has been able to overcome injury woes and get his career back on track for Lille to actually come to sign the Nigerian forward, Victor Osimhen. So he has been able to prove himself over time.
Victor Osimhen has proved himself despite the odds on his way. And in August 2018, Vegan club Charlotte Lorry eventually accepted him on a season-long loan deal, and Osimhen finally scored his first goal in his full debut for the club on September 22nd. Of course, that particular year. Osimhen eventually went on to score an impressive 20 goals in 36 games with the Belgian side after dominating Belgium. Osimhen made an upward move to France in July. That was in 2019, signing for Lille. And the Nigerian endured a metric rise to prominence after that move, establishing himself as one of the best young strikers, in the league, scoring 13 goals in 37 appearances for the French side, finishing as Lille top scorer. So from Charlotte Lorry and to Lille, his goal-scoring prowess, got activated.
Yes, I just saw that move. At that point in time, he has been able to overcome his injury woes. So he was able to move up on to Lille, where he scored 13 goals in 27 appearances. So he has been able to overcome a whole lot. Talking about
overcoming injuries,
yes, overcoming injuries,
and all of that.
If you can cast our minds back to the current Paris Saint-Germain forward, talking about Ousmane Dembele, we did not really see the best of Ousmane Dembele in Barcelona as we did in Borussia Dortmund. The striker was actually prolific in front of the winger. Sorry, was actually prolific in front of. But when these players are injury saddled, month in, month out, there's no month that goes by that you wouldn't be out for at least 2 weeks. And leading on to a period of 6 weeks, 6 months, you're not even able to play competitively for 3 months. It's really disheartening. Yeah. Look at the situation of the Belgium international, talking about Kevin De Bruyne, who is injured right now. Though the vacuum may not be really felt, but to him, he's also having this feeling, oh, my place may be taken, I may not be able to come back to my best form. But when we look at it, we'll be able to say the player who is being affected by injury should be resilient enough to come back to get his place in the team, depending on how important you are. Because some players, as soon as they embark on injury, the club is even happy, fans are even happy, the person should just use the exit. But there are so many clubs that when a star player is injured, I think they actually feel it on and off, and they wish for the speedy and safe recovery of that spectacular player imminent. So it was me actually got past it, and that's what gained to Lille.
All right. In the summer of 2020, Serie A club Napoli announced the signing of Victor Osimhen for a club record fee of 70 million euros, potentially rising to 80 million euros with add-ons, making him the most expensive African transfer to date. And since his move to Napoli, Osimhen has managed to cement his place among the great young strikers in the world of football, becoming the club undisputed talisman after just 2 seasons in Italy. So an impressive ride, but since he started scoring, I think his value increased. It's 70 million euros. 70 million euros,
almost 80.
When you add everything up,
the add-ons, yeah.
That was very huge, for Victor Osimhen as that then.
very, very huge because Napoli had to acquire the services of the Nigerian striker, which is, I think, the most expensive transfer of an African player up until this time. So when you do those add-ons, you're having approximately 80 million euros for the Nigerian forwarder. So very, very interesting feat for this player at this frame, because when we look at his achievement in the national team, he's rebuilding from under 17, where he had to score 10 goals in 7 games, up until under 23, up until the national team level. We're able to say, oh, that's aimed him a lot. This move. Being one of the most expensive, currently the most expensive African player for now. So you can say this is tied down to his prolific performance in previous clubs. Yeah. And I bet you, he has been able to overcome those injury woes in Wolfsburg, that's Leroy, and also in Lille. So that's what aimed him the move to Napoli. So Napoli actually needed at that point, and he actually proved himself to be a very prolific striker in front of.
On May 4th, 2023, Victor Osimhen scored a 52nd minute equalizer against Udinese in the Serie A to confirm Napoli as champions for the 2022 and 2023 season, helping Napoli to their first Scudetto since 1990. That was a historic moment for Victor Osimhen and Napoli as well as a club in the Italian Serie A.
When you look and you assess it from this point, you actually see he has gotten into the minds of fans in Naples, because Victor Osimhen actually put himself upon being but killing striker. If we look at the 52nd minute equalizer, very prolific goal for the striker, and you're able to understand one most interesting thing, that he has lived up to expectations, banging in double up until this time. So last season in the Champions League, whereby his absence was greatly felt against AC Milan, we were able to understand that it was tied down to his injury and absence. That's why he actually crashed out of the Champions League. Because upon his comeback, second leg, he was able to give a good account of himself by at least scoring a goal. So when you look at it, he's not in the scheme of things. I don't think things will move as planned. But now that he's back, he's fit, able to perform creditably well, national team, building up from the qualifiers up until the new season, then the sky is just a starting point.
Guys, the starting point, of course, for Victor Osimhen, impressive club football career. The man has got, of course, for himself. We'll take a short break now, and when we'll come back from this break, we'll take a look at his international career. What has he been able to do for the national team of Nigeria? We'll take a look at that when we'll come back from this short break. Please stay with us. personality show on Atlantic Television Network, and we're taking a look at Victor Osimhen as the first Nigerian to be nominated in the Ballon d'Or award and the FIFA Best Player award. And that's why we're taking a look at the man, what he has been able to do for himself. Let's take a look at his international career. Osimhen was a member of Nigeria under-17 team that won the 2015 FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Chile. He scored 10 goals in 7 games at the tournament and won the Golden Boot and Silver Ball Award. His performance also earned him the CAF Youth Player of the Year award. That was in 2015. And of course, he made his official senior debut for Nigeria in a 2-1 defeat against South Africa on 10th of June 2017. And he missed out on Nigerian 2018 FIFA World Cup campaign after his inconsistent season at Wolfsburg. Now, following a successful start to his loan spell at Charleroi, he was recalled by the Nebro for the November 2018 international break, starting their friendly with a friendly win over Uganda. Now, in March 2019, Osimhen was released from the Super Eagles squad to represent the Nigerian under-23 side as they were two goals down against their Libyan opponents, and he scored 3 goals in the return match against Libya in Asaba. And of course, that really gave Osimhen much prominence in the national team. Osimhen was listed in Coach General 25-man provisional list for 2019 African Cup of Nations tournament in Egypt, and was further listed in the final list for the tournament in the match for third place. He replaced the injured John Gallo at halftime in the team's 1-0 victory over Tunisia, and he played a total of 45 minutes at the tournament. And the Super Eagles, of course, ended at the 2021 AFCON qualifiers on high, beating the set to 3-0. However, Osimhen missed the 2021 African Cup of Nations, supposedly due to COVID-19, as claimed by his club. And this claim provoked a response from a sports lawyer in Nigeria who wrote to express his dismay to the alleged intention of Osimhen Club. Osimhen Club said Napoli to deprive Nigeria the services of for their star striker. But Jerry has really been an impressive one, of course, for the man Victor Osimhen in the national team, starting from the youth team, up to the senior team. Talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Yes, it has been really been an interesting one for striker. So building up until this point in time, stood that he has been in the champion side of 17 that actually lifted the trophy in Chile, and also the opportunity side, and also gain promotion into the Super Eagles team, about the men's team. And up until this time, we know that he has been saddled with a lot of injury problems, where he missed the 2018 World Cup and also 2021 AFCON. But that was tied down to say.
That was actually tied down, to the club. The club owner, and then the club owner presently as well, Orlando De Laurentiis, he was angry. He was actually angered. Many Africans, when he said he would no longer sign African players unless they agreed to sign a waiver, to participate in the AFCON due to the Victor Osimhen issue, because a whole lot of Nigerians, were not happy that the man talked about Osimhen. They didn't allow him to come play for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And the owner of the team, talking about Napoli, was also very angry with that. He said he will not sign African players except they agree, to sign a waiver that they will not play in the African Cup of Nations.
One good thing about it is that there is dignity and prestige
when you play for your country.
When you play for your country. We look at the magnanimous and magnificent feat achieved by Diego Armando Maradona of blessed memory, we're able to understand that Maradona actually had a very good time with the Argentine national team, making him the Diego Maradona we know of today. In 1978, Maradona, Argentina actually lifted the World Cup title with Maradona, a young lad in the squad. Then when we talk about Mexico '86, we call it the Maradona World Cup, where he performed creditably well. It was in Italian 90 that we saw him being charged for drugs. But when you talk about Mexico '86, you understand this fact that it's being called Diego Armando Maradona World Cup, of how he single-handed, what we saw Messi did in Qatar 2022, that was exactly what Diego Maradona did in 1986, single-handedly giving Argentina the trophy. So there is prestige in playing for the national team side.
Especially when you're the star man.
Especially when you're the star man. Okay, look at Harry Maguire. If there was no English national team, I think they would just be painting Harry Maguire black. But a Man United fan, a Coma United fan, a non-hater of Harry Maguire, would know that he performs creditably well in the national team. Talking about the Three Lions of England. So there's prestige in participating in national team games. Even if you're just being called for qualifiers alone, wearing the green and white jersey of the Super Eagles really shows how highly honored you are. It shows dedication, it shows prestige, it shows a high level of sportsmanship and also dignity when it comes to the round leather game. So making Osimhen not come to play for Nigeria, it's not nice. And you saying that you won't sign African players again, let me shock you. Is there any team that has progressed very well without an African player? Jose Mourinho said this, that he can't win the league without an African player. You see Manchester City team, they had an Akanji there who is an African player. So you can't really exclude the fact that African players are the best, are a very formidable force when it comes to participation in club sides. So do not extricate that from them in participating for their national team. We had a Seydou Keita, who was from Mali, played for the elite Barcelona team. I don't think they stopped him from playing for Mali. Though a small country in Africa, a small national team. We also saw the prolific striker of Barcelona, talking about Samuel Eto'o, performed creditably well for the national team. We even saw the homegrown and home-based Egyptian, talking about Mohamed Aboutrika, playing creditably well in the national team. What about Mohamed Salah? So it did not go down well at that moment when he said that he won't sign any other African player and they must sign the waiver. A waiver.
That playing the
not to. Well, he should have done that to European players now. No.
Okay. Osimhen started the qualification for the 2023 AFCON qualifiers in sparkling form, helping Nigeria win both for their in the reverse fixture played at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo on the 10th of September 2023. Osimhen scored his second international hat-trick in the Nigerian sixth goal to the win against Sao Tome and Principe. So the hat-tricks that we've seen from Osimhen has been against Sao Tome and Principe. You know, he finished the 2023 AFCON qualifier as the top scorer with 10 goals. Impressive feat, of course, for the man. Putting up, that impressive performance in the qualifiers. But let's move on as we talk about, the award. That's the Ballon d'Or award and the FIFA Best Player award. Here, Super Eagles striker Osimhen, he was actually been nominated for the 2023 Best FIFA Player of the Year award, and the Nigerian superstar was nominated alongside the likes of Lionel Messi, Erling Braut Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, Kylian Mbappe, in the men's category, as well as other players in this particular one. Now, here the winner of the award will be decided by votes from international jury comprising national team captains and coaches, journalists, and fans from all over the world. And the winner will be announced. Happy to see Osimhen, in this particular one after being nominated in the Ballon d'Or award as well as Assis Roshola, in the female category as well. What do you make of this one? Being nominated for the Ballon d'Or, the FIFA Best Award. Do you think Osimhen stand a chance, in any of this award?
Irrespective of the fact that he doesn't stand the chance, but he has been nominated. Because if you're telling somebody to assess this place, let's say we have limited seats here, and you gain entrance into this place. First of all, you've gained entrance. The main thing is looking for a seat to sit down. So, Victor Osimhen has gained entrance into the Hall of Fame, talking about being nominated. And also, Cesar Joshua. So, for me, irrespective of the fact that he doesn't win, but he has been able to integrate himself, put his name in that elite book of being nominated. There were so many other players that were not nominated. So many other fantastic players, even in the Premier League, in the Spanish La Liga, and also across the Euro Top 5 League. So Victor Osimhen has been able to carve a niche for himself by making sure his name is on that book. And perhaps we could say there's no prospect in winning it. I don't really agree, because if he wins it, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
It should be done by voting.
Yes, it should be done by voting team captains, also
coaches,
and
fans.
And fans across the world. This is going to take place on the 17th of January in 2024. So, if Victor Osimhen comes out as the winner, I won't be surprised. But on the other side, we have the likes of Lionel Messi, Erling Haaland, and Kylian Mbappe in this list. So, you can't take it away that he would not win.
Okay.
But on one side, he has been inducted into that list. Congratulations to him.
Congratulations to Victor Osimhen, first Nigerian to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or Award and the FIFA Best Player Award. Now, let's take a look at his style of play. Now, Osimhen is a right-footed centre forward, known for his presence, athleticism, strength, directness, runs into space, eye for goal, and his link-up play. Now, at 185 centimeter, he has good hold-up play. He also relies on pace to beat opponents. And a little bit of, let's take a look at his personal life. Of course, Osimhen is a Christian, and he has stated that he has drawn inspiration from Sadio Mane, who helped his community in Senegal, and has said he wants to help disabled people throughout Africa. Osimhen announced the birth of his first child, a daughter named Ali, on October 2022. But this is a very good, intention to actually from Osimhen, saying that he wants to help disabled people in Africa. Let's see how this one, of course, will pan out. But as of March 2023, Victor Osimhen is the second highest paid Nigerian footballer on the planet. And among the Nigerian footballers with the most followers on Instagram, the 24-year-old forward has managed to establish himself as one of the deadliest striker in the Italian league, recently winning the award for the Serie A most valuable younger player. Now, Osimhen is the second highest paid player in Napoli. It's a weekly salary of 92,538 pounds and an annual paycheck of 4,812 pounds. That's a very huge one, of course, if you ask me, coming from Victor Osimhen. And we hear that his contracts at Napoli will expire in 2025, but the striker continues to be linked with a move away from Italy this summer, which could see him almost double his yearly earnings. But for what we'll get to, Napoli are still very much interested, for the man to remain, and the contract talks is still ongoing. Let's see how this one will pan out. But to hear the Napoli star is one of the richest Super Eagles player in 2023, having played top-flight European football for over a decade. And Osimhen is estimated to have a net worth of $2 million. And the 24-year-old Super Eagles striker boasts a market value of 100 million euros, as of March 2023 as it stands. And the price tag has always been something, to talk about, Jerry, because I think they just concluded summer. Napoli were actually placing him, I think, more than 100 million euros. They were dropping him for like, I think, 150, million. But what do you make of it? Are they trying to, scare away club, from getting the man at the moment? When you place him at that amount, he's an African player.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of these top European teams do not want to go for African players, with such amount of money. Because sometimes I think they actually feel that African players do not really, stay on their prime for a very long time.
Well, on one side, it can be tied down to the fact that it's being used to scare other European giants who wants to have the services of Victor Osimhen, just like the Saudi clubs are willing to do so. They're even willing to pay that amount of money, but it's not for sale. It's not for sale, and his contract still runs on up until 2025, and he still has 2 more years now to 2025. So when we see it from this point, we actually say that it's a price that used to scare top clubs away. And on the other side, we say he actually worth it. It doesn't mean actually, because without a Napoli, without a Victor Osimhen, Napoli would not get the feat they have achieved today. So it can be tied down to the brilliance and the magnificent show by the Nigerian international.
And the man is one of the most active, on Instagram with 2.2 million followers, and the third most followed Super Eagles player on Twitter with over 710,000 followers on the bed app. Osimhen mostly posts memes, training photos, and shows of some of the